there's going to be a whole lot of unnecessary release, a whole lot of unnecessary stop and frisk. Okay, we are clear. We talked about this time and time again on this show that the war on drugs simply meant the war on us. Okay, but one of the things that we talked about before is we don't own any planes that's bringing this stuff into the area. I find it amazing that all of these things come up when it spills over into other neighborhoods. Now, everyone knows, and I don't have to sing this song, I am not racist by any means, any shape, size, or form. But the reality is what the reality is, and the facts are what the facts are. And time again, we as a people don't like hearing the facts. Everybody thinks, you know, we talked about this, Doc and I talked about this time and time again, when it comes down to the things we still suffering from this post-traumatic slave disorder, because time and time again, when we talk about these things, this is when people turn their channels, or no one wants to make anybody mad and everybody wants to go away. But we can sit and we can dialogue about the Holocaust, and we can understand that that was a terrible time in history, and that genocide should have never happened. I'm expecting to have the same dialogue. I'm expecting to have the same results and the same recognition. That's all that I'm saying. Okay, our people are dying. When are we going to, like the song say, wake up? When are we going to wake up? So my hope is for everyone, traveling mercies that are going to Washington, D.C., may you get there safe and sound. But while you are standing there, everyone, because my mission is I'm going to be looking to the left of me, and I'm going to be looking to the right of me, and I'm going to be saying to some good brothers, why are you here? And what are you going to do when you leave here? Are you just here because you just want to be able to say that I came here? Or are you coming here because you want to hear something, you want to receive something, and you want to take it back? I even say to Minister Farrakhan, you have 1 million brothers coming there. A brother is a brother irregardless, okay? Whether you agree or disagree, I don't think that President Obama should be left out from the Million Man March. He was there in 1995 as the commander-in-chief of this nation. He should be there in 2015. I think that it's time that we stop separating and come together. I'm not expecting us to have a kumbaya moment, but we have seen other nations, other nationalities, what they can do when they all work together. Okay, so when we go on this convoy up to DC this year, okay, I, for one, am a person that believes in accountability, and I believe that we're all accountable. So all our sisters that's going up there, it's time that when we come back, we start pouring and stop emasculating our men and pour instill some pride in them, instill back into them that we got your back. But in order for me to have your back, you're being held accountable for something. Okay, I'm expecting to see some action. I don't want to be 80-something years old sitting going, oh, well, here goes another 20-something years, and all of these people are going back to Washington for what? That's my point. That's my commentary. So if you have a question or a comment, give us a call at 804-915-5202. If you're someone that's going up to the march, if you have a different reason for going up to the march than I've dialogued about, or that Mr. LP who called in dialogue about, we definitely would, like to hear from you. I think that it is going to be definitely a historical event. I think, I know that my family, when we went up to the Black Lives Matter event in Washington, D.C., just the energy alone was overwhelming. Okay, if you're sitting at home and you're saying, oh, I'm not going to that because I don't want to be stuck in the traffic, or I don't want to, stop making excuses. Okay, stop making excuses. You don't have to go up to DC, but be supportive. We've got to be supportive of the effort. We've got to start somewhere. And I know that they did this thing 20-something years ago, but keep in mind, when Rosa Parks sat on the bus, she wasn't the first person to refuse to give up her seat. She was just a person that made things happen. There were other people that came. There was a woman right here from Richmond, Virginia, that did the same thing 2 years before Rosa Parks did. So my point is, you know, it's like we learn as children time and time again, if at first you don't succeed, try again. That is real. That is real talk. We've got to keep trying. Somebody's listening. Somebody's doing something, because if not, a black man wouldn't be sitting in the office of the President of the United States in the first place. So we've seen small little strides, and the things are getting better, but collectively we still got work to do. We still got work to do. So that's been my 2 cents for this evening. Again, this has been your girl Silk. I thank you for once again allowing me into your living room. We'll be back here next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And I'm just gonna leave you with that food for thought. So I'm gonna ask my executive producer just to throw on something to make you think, to make you reflect, and you have a good evening.
In the ministry class, Sister Kenya Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness and I thank Allah for His coming to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I thank Him for raising up one from among us as a bearer of witness to His power, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is indeed the exalted Christ. And I thank them both for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, for his love and dedication to those two has and continues to be a mercy and a blessing to us all. It is in their names that I greet you all in the greeting words of peace and paradise. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. Of course, I have to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his student minister, Brother Ishmael Muhammad, for giving me this opportunity to speak before you all today. In light of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day just passing, and in light of the dissatisfaction for the current injustices happening against Black people today, even recognizing Black History Month approaching, I hear many people saying things like, ain't nothing changed, or Martin Luther King didn't die for this, and many other statements showing the dissatisfaction with our present condition. Now, those kind of statements are understandable because many of them are true, but the question then becomes, why is that? And what responsibility do we have today to making Dr. Martin Luther King or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's and all of those who came before us visions become reality? My generation is far removed from the history that makes up the current fight to freedom, justice, and equality in America. We may know a couple of basic or key facts, but as a whole, we are not connected to the past. We are not as connected to the past as we should be. The educational systems that our enemy has set up for us are not made to connect us with the real warriors and soldiers who fought and even gave their lives to see us free. We don't see ourselves in the history that they teach us in the school, so we don't recognize the supreme value of what learning our history can do for us. There are lessons and guidance to be taken from history that will make our present and future much better if we only knew. So for example, I'm in school, and for most of my classes, I have a friend that either took the class last semester or some time ago that can tell me things about the course that I would have found out along the way, but now I know it beforehand. So it's nice to have someone to let you know that teacher hates when you turn in work late, or that teacher does not like when you talk without raising your hand, simple things like that. Because they've been through it already, they can help me to be more successful in the classes by not making the same mistakes that they did, or by taking the effective approaches that they did. Or let's say, for another example, you have a parent who, of course, may have made some mistakes. By knowing and valuing that history, you will be able to advance your family further into the future, as opposed to going through the same struggles that they have, when many of those things could be avoided if we just knew our history. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in a lecture, Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, recognized that we as a people were robbed of the knowledge of our rich history. He says he knew that a people without the knowledge of their history is like a tree without roots. We are dead. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that of all of our studies, history is the most attractive and is best qualified to reward the researcher, because history develops the springs and the motives of human actions. He says, when we know what was, that springs us forward to produce what is and make a future. But when we do not know what was or is, we are unqualified to prepare a future for ourselves and our progeny. So wise men and women study history. Now, my generation is already coming into our place as leaders in the world and as leaders in the fight to equality. But we will be truly taking our rightful place once we learn the knowledge of the past that will boost us into what we make of the future. I have no doubt that the injustices going on will come to an end, but we have to continue to qualify ourselves since we know that Allah God will use us, this current generation, to bring about the liberation of our people. So as we approach Black History Month, there is no month extensive enough to contain the rich and great history of our original people of the planet Earth. So I encourage all of us, praise be to Allah, to strive every day to learn something new that we haven't known. Talk to our great-grandmothers and your great-grandfathers that we walk past, or maybe just give a hug and a kiss, who were here during severe and specific times like the Civil Rights Movement or some other times that they can impart knowledge into us. Open a book like Message to the Black Man in America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and learn something that I know from experience can grow you and fill you with much more wisdom than any book made by our enemy, because you know they are known to rewrite our history. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. We have been taught, and I truly believe, that this current generation is the strongest and the most fearless ever produced, and we will not stand by and let another generation pass without ushering in some type of change to our current reality. So inshallah, what Student Minister Nuri will share with us today will equate us with more of our rich and interesting history and encourage all of us to fight harder and harder to see our people rise. I thank you for giving me this brief moment as I leave you as I came. Assalamu alaikum.
En el nombre de Allah, el benéfico, el misericordioso. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. Want to greet our sisters and our brothers here in Chicago at Mosque Mariam, or wherever you may be watching us across the country, across the planet this morning, in the greeting words of peace, which we say it in Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to share something with you this morning, as I'm anxious to hear Student Minister Nuri Muhammad as well. On a cold, dreary day in Chicago, knowing that there's a light in the building.